Hey there everybody, Brian Von VA. I have a question for you. Does your world have any anomalies?
What is an anomaly?
Something different, abnormal, or peculiar. Well, do you? By anomaly, I mean something in your world that seems impossible, out of place, or appears to break the laws of the universe even by your world standards, whether it be fantasy, sci-fi, or closer to our reality. It could be a never-before-seen astrological event, a powerful source of magic, a being from a different world, a geological event that caused a truly weird climate to exist in one specific part of a world and nowhere else. Or maybe some being or object or place that seems unbound by logic or time, etc. Anything of the sort that is abnormal. There's a city that never experiences winter. A mage cast some sort of spell while he was dying that causes the weather to almost never shift beyond what he considered comfortable, which is between about 60 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I love you for it. Without going into too much detail, no one in the universe knows how he did it. Spells cast like that are meant to deteriorate, both because they will need to continue driving it and because it needs mana to power it. It's lasted centuries without any sign of destabilization, and researchers are no closer to replicating it. So-called demons. It's hard to describe what they look like because, aside from the gods, anyone who's ever seen one has gone mad. Being within a few miles of one, visible or otherwise, will cause horrific mutations to humans, monsters, animals, even certain plants. So, bear in mind that because of that, what little information on their appearance exists was written by people who were half-crazed and rapidly declining. They were said to appear vaguely humanoid but distorted. Things like hands, or what were assumed to be hands, being oversized in relation to the arms, or arms that were too long for the body. In one case, it was said that the neck was exceptionally long, but came to an abrupt end. There's virtually nothing about specific features outside from this, either because they're not visible, or because the few who wrote about them were driven completely mad before having the chance to describe them. All accounts do agree with two things, however. Firstly, they're always surrounded by a luminescent fog or snow, in one account mentioning the colors red, green, and blue. However, it also mentioned these seem to combine and radiate new, ever-changing colors. Secondly, there's a fuzzy hiss and crackling sound that seems to come from the fog and snow, rather than from the demon. What the gods in particular find odd is that when they attack these demons, the demons never make any attempt to attack or defend themselves. In fact, the demons never take any overtly hostile action, as though they were simply passing through. Furthermore, they don't so much as die as they do evaporate. It seems as though this process happens naturally, as if left to their own devices, these demons would simply fade away regardless. But the byproduct of their presence obviously isn't good. It's a little scary, however, that all the gods can do is accelerate this process. Here's an edit. It should have added that the fog is stated to be thicker in some parts and take the shape of lines, or geometric shapes. What shapes specifically weren't recorded before the writer lost their grip on reality. The demons themselves, however, are also said to glow with a yellow or golden radiance, separate from the light of the fog and snow. Now that is an interesting spin on demons and ghoulish goblins. Your descriptions are enticing and make me think that you're describing them the way a medieval peasant would describe Fallout or some nuclear mutant, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case. So the question is, how common are the demons in your world? Are they a regular nuisance to the people in settlements? If they cause mutations in organisms by being within a certain radius, do people have ways of detecting them ahead of time from a safe distance, or do they just live their lives on a wing and a prayer and hope things don't get worse? As a response, there aren't too many demons, all things considered. Oh, that's never a good sign. Furthermore, they tend to appear and vanish in random places, even in the middle of the ocean. Since most of the world isn't even landmass, let alone densely populated, they're generally not that big of a threat to mortal civilization. Which is good, since all the general population can do is pray. It is pretty catastrophic, however, when one does appear in a city, but that usually only happens once every 1,000 years or so. That said, the lesser, aka local or regional gods, will know almost immediately when a demon appears, if not knowing a bit beforehand even, as they'll sense the chaotic energies in their realms. As a result, the gods end up dealing with them fairly quickly. The 3 main gods can also sense when they appear virtually anywhere in the world, and similarly take action. It is, however, ultimately a purely reactionary effort. As for their appearance, don't read too deeply into this, but to use modern terms, they appear like a glitching shadow backlit by the sun. To put it another way, what if you took the concept of Plato's allegory of the cave and put it into a game full of bugs, and for some reason the shadows were 3D objects? Now, I'm not saying that my world is set in a simulated universe, but that's the inspiration for the imagery. That gave me so many ideas. I love this post, I love who wrote it, thank you. This is for a steampunk-inspired fantasy world where people can manipulate a metal called quicksteel at will. The main setting, No Man's Land, is meant to be analogous to a cross between the Wild West and the Silk Road. An infamous bounty hunter in No Man's Land, Henry Death Mask Zan, is said to be the world's greatest master of quicksteel telekinesis. He is able to effortlessly move magnetic objects not bolted to the ground, tear quicksteel weapons and gauntlets from his opponent's hands, and more. Strangely enough, though, Henry has even been known to somehow change the shape of quicksteel that he isn't even touching, which should be impossible as all quicksmithing requires physical contact. Some suspect that this is achieved through thin quicksteel wires, too small to be seen with the naked eye, rather than telekinesis. My world has what people call the Witness. For some reason, a few people in this world gained immortality in one way or another. Their fates, through various visionaries and seers, reveal that they will live to witness the end of the universe, and some may become a creator of another. Note that my world doesn't have long-lived races. At best, people live to be around 100. There are 4 known witnesses and 1 yet to be born. The Wandering Dreamer, a being formed by the remains of an ancient deity said to have created this world. It's theorized to be the creator's reincarnation. They managed to stay hidden for centuries before the Witness was revealed to the world. Luna, the doll, which is a magic-powered doll whose head somehow resists all forms of damage and is able to anonymously adapt to almost any form of technology to make her body. Lord Nexus, once an ordinary businessman who became a cult god after the revelation of him being a witness. Source of immortality is unknown. OWA, or Overseer Witness Algorithm, a self-replicating sentient algorithm overseeing Centralia's network. It made a contract with Luna so that at least one of its copies is kept alive in return for her lifetime supply of body replacements. The visionaries of the world prophesize that the final witness will be a girl whose brilliance unlocked her own immortality in the far future. Inferis. No one knows what it exactly is. A common theory among Astrarian scientists and cultivators is that it is a parallel universe of chaotic energy, where everything is utterly inconceivable. Another states that it is the root of the universe, the original state that existed one planic time at the beginning when matters and energies were compressed into a naked singularity, before everything exploded under such density and created the current known 20D reality. However, some schools of thought and research propose a different approach. Inferis is a quantum sea, where imaginary numbers exist, in contrast to real space where real number prevails triumphantly. This imaginary number is the source of Inferis' chaos, since it corrupts and collapses reality and everything real into unreal and chaotic data. The common things they know about Inferis are: Inferis is a fundamental part of the universe as a whole. It cannot be separated. It is extremely dangerous, hostile, and even lethal if you're exposed to just a tiny bit, as humans are driven insane to the point where they brutally murder one another, and that's on the lesser side of the scale. Laws of physics do not apply in Inferis. There are things that live inside Inferis, and it's best to leave them alone. I think I gathered that one. At the moment, only the Rubran Federal Monarchy has the ability to navigate deep inside Inferis, and they do so by using a literal space-flying Dutchman. Oh god. Object 213, in orbit around Jupiter. What they know about Object 213 is, it is artificial. When first observed, it was in a sorry state. When actively observed, however, and analyzed closely, it emits a radio signal that causes nausea, anxiety, and spontaneous erasure from existence. Wait a minute! Also, it tells you that something or someone is very slowly rebuilding it. But this void! Just an area in space strangely lacking in stars. No, you didn't see any teeth. Are you crazy? Come on now. Oh, and Earth Redux, an exact copy of Earth created by accident by DOE scientists. Everything that occurs on the main Earth happens on the second Earth in exactly the same manner, suspected to be the reason for déjà vu. Some people experience existence on both Earths simultaneously. It's currently being filed under question mark in DOE records. Yep, I got one. It's a ghost that only a specific person can see. God, that's gotta get annoying. To put it simply, a German scientist named Dr. Angela Eins tried to clone herself during World War II. After Germany's surrender, she hid in Antarctica and continued her research. Her plan was to grow a body and then transfer her consciousness into it. A US Navy expedition discovered the base and raided it. Dr. Eins is forced to perform the transfer prematurely to prevent herself from being captured. The transfer process is extremely painful, and the American soldiers catch her right in the middle of it. They can see she's in pain and decide to shoot her to end her suffering. Now, because of this, her entire consciousness wasn't transferred to the clone. The remaining part is forced to live as a ghost, trying to regain the lost parts of itself. The ghost will now harass her clone in an attempt to somehow get herself back together. Meanwhile, the clone, which was still a baby, was taken by the American soldiers and given to a family who raised her as their adopted daughter. Can we know more about this story? I believe it was posted by someone called Flareon623. Hey, if you're listening in, tell us the rest of the story. We want to know. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know. Does your world have any anomalies in it, big or small? We want to know in the comments below. See you later. Bye for now.